How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to Healing is Freedom podcast. I am your host, Vanita Queen Abrams. And today's episode is so dear to me. I went to the motherland, y'all. Yes, I went to Ghana. Now, no, this is not the first time I went or the second time I went. I've been to South Africa, but this is the first time I went to Ghana. And this is the first experience I've ever had to this magnitude. When I tell you this experience was breathtaking, believe it. Let me dive in like this. Today's episode is called The Chains We Carry, Ancestral Healing and Breaking Free from Mental Bondage. Yes, we're about to talk, y'all. And before we begin, let us affirm together. If you're out there listening to me, repeat after me. I release the chains of my past. I honor my ancestors by choosing healing, wholesomeness, and freedom. My mind, my heart, and my soul are free. I hope you felt it like I did. You guys, I'm trying to take deep breaths because I just got back, so I feel like I'm still there, and I want you to go on this journey with me. Before we do, I like to start with a word from God, and I stand on the word of God. So if the sun sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. John 8:36. All right, let's dive in. I'm just gonna start. I just recently returned from Ghana, and I can tell you this trip transformed my soul. After 22 hours of traveling on the plane and bus, oh my God, and my body feels it too, I finally stepped foot on the land of my ancestors. I was tired, but the moment I arrived, something powerful happened. I was welcomed with beautiful music and dance and the sound of people saying, "Welcome home." You see, my heart swelled. I felt love. Honey, I felt special. I felt like a queen. I felt like I belonged. For once, I wasn't a visitor or an outsider. You all, I was home. Ghana. So we were taken to this hotel where food was prepared, but I didn't eat the meat because of my last year's experience in South Africa. I might mention that later and might not, I don't know. But let's just say the experience traumatized me. So still, though I felt love and the effort touched me. It rained often and we traveled many, many miles by bus through different townships. That was the only way we can get through there. I saw everything from poverty that broke my heart to places they called paradise. We visit what we called the Fish Castle. Now, this first visit was amazing. I had never seen so many different types of fish. Big-eyed fish, little fish, fish with tails, fish without tails. I was like, wow, I felt like I was floating in the abyss. But what was so wonderful about this experience, our people, our Black people in Ghana was sitting there selling this fish. Entrepreneur is in our souls. I tell you, it was something interesting to see. We were there on the grounds of Ghana, walking with our people while they were selling fish of all kinds. And it took every bit of me to not appear to be shocked. But honey, let me tell you, I was shocked. So different from America, yet so alive. Then came the naming ceremony, was our next adventure. Now you guys, let me say this to you. This is where it gets quite emotional. I sat in front of a king and his assistants, and they sat in front of me, and he felt my spirit. See, in Ghana, it's all about relationships. It's all about feelings. It's all about the emotional and spiritual connection with our ancestors. I sat in front of this man, this strong, powerful, prolific man, and he read me thoroughly. See, in Ghana, every day that you are born, like on Monday, Tuesday, all the way to Sunday, you're given a name. You actually given a name for your birth, the first day you're born. So I was born on Tuesday. My birth name is Abana. Now, you can't name your children in Ghana. Only the king can. So you'll have a baby for the first week and you'll call them Abana if they were on Tuesday. Now, don't get me to start talking about what was on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, because they did tell us that. But my concern was my name at the time. It was kind of hard for me to say my name, and it might not be said properly right now, but I know what it means. It means I was born on a Tuesday, Abana. And the ancestors talked to him about who I was. He said, you know what? You're a queen. I said, wow, that's what they call me in the Chicago area. He said, no. He said, your lineage is your spirit, your energy is queen, and it's a name. I'm not going to try to say it right now. He said, but you're grateful and you're thankful, so I'm going to call you Asada. He said, Abana Asada. That's your name. Honey, when I tell you he told me that, I got chills. I was so proud that now I was named on the motherland, and I have the bracelet to prove it. It was such an interesting ceremony. So I went with my church, Oakdale Covenant Church, and it was 34 of us, and every last one of us got a name from Ghana, got our own name. Everybody that was born on Tuesday is named Abana. Everybody was born on Monday is named that name, and so on and so on. So yes, I was named Abana Asada. So you guys got to call me Queen Abana Asada. Baby, you shouldn't have gave me my name. It done went to my head, right? But moving on. After we were all named, and the king sat there, because we couldn't cross our legs, we couldn't speak direct to him until we were actually introduced and named to come into the kingdom, right? So finally, all of us had our names. The king crowned us in his way, and it was then a dance, like welcome home. That word welcome home was going over and over again. And so they danced, we were all in white. It was a ceremony. And when I tell you, they greeted us like royalty and gave us new names. It wasn't just a celebration. It was our identity. It was history. It was home. I even had the honor of meeting the king myself and interviewing him. Can you imagine? From Chicago to Ghana, sitting before a king, Queen Abana Asada. I did that. And when I tell you, it was a feeling of all feelings. Words can't I can't put words to how it made me feel. You would just have to go to Ghana or go to any parts of the motherland and feel the energy. Now, all the fun was exciting. Yes, it was. Until I went to the slave castle. Tears like waterfalls. But then came the moment that changed everything. The slave castle. The slave dungeon where they kept our people. We went to the slave castle. My happiness was snatched from me. As I walked down the dungeon, I could still see it. It was this hole, and they had all like 200 black people, our people, held captive in a slave dungeon. We touched the walls and we got quiet because we had to show homage to all those who have lost their lives before us. I can hear their screams. I can hear their cries. I'm going to get through this. The laughter and the joy, it just shifted. I felt like I became them. So I want y'all to imagine this. Being caught up in just a square box where you can only stand and sit. There you use the bathroom there. You this close to everybody like sardines. If your back itch, the person behind you had to scratch it, if that. If you died, you have to stay there with all those that passed away. This was the slave dungeon. They kept our people there for years while they were having church right upstairs from the dungeon. As I walked through those dark, cold chambers, I could feel the cries of my ancestors. I could smell the pain in the air. My tears flowed like waterfalls, uncontrollable, unstoppable. There was a dungeon where the men were kept. We went in there too. See, these were the strong men. They want the strongest men so they can sell them off to slave. So they didn't feed them, no clothes, no water, no light. They stayed in total darkness, shackled together until one of them, one by one, dropped dead. Only the last man standing would be cleaned up and shipped to be sold. Y'all give me a minute. The guide there told us about the story of how the screams were heard and no one came to rescue. See, the white people back then dehumanized us. They didn't look at us as humans. And it all started because, believe it or not, one of our own had a white person tell them, if you give us some of your people, we'll put them somewhere where they can do some work for us, and then we'll bring them right back. So they were lied to and believed and sold their own people out. They did. For the whites to go over there and capture them all and throw them in the slave dungeon and treat them like dogs, worse than dogs. Our women was faced with even more horrible situations. When a woman fought against being raped, the slave master would make her hold 2 heavy canyons. And when her strength gave out and she dropped them, she was raped and killed. I went into a dungeon where they held her, those that he had already raped, the slave master, to send her to the door of no return, where she'll never see her husband, her children, no one she ever knew, after having everything taken from her. If they conformed to the master, they gave them food. If they didn't, they took them and sent them back into the dungeon, where they will stand there with no clothes on. You guys, I don't know about you, but to be there and stand on the same grounds as our people did, it snatched a lot out of me. I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. And then there was the door of no return. That door separated families forever. Mothers raped from their children, ripped from their children, husbands torn from their wives. If our people survived the dungeon, they were marched through that door, sold all over the world. See, when I was standing there, I realized the physical chains may have been broken centuries ago, but the mental shackles, we are still carrying them today. Okay, I digress. I did something out there that I thought I wouldn't have never done, you guys. We went to another excursion, may I call this. Later, we climbed the mountains. I went to this canopy hike, you guys. And I'm afraid of heights. For those that know me know I am completely afraid of heights, but I faced my fears down there. I went to the canopy. I didn't realize that where I was going was over the trees of Ghana. And I'm not overreacting. It was really, really high. But in order to get there, you had to walk 2 miles on brick. And it was raining there, right? And it was slippery, right? And I had a stick like I was singing, sweet low, sweet chariot. I thought they was about to carry me home, y'all. But I made it. I got up there and walked through these canopies. Now, a canopy, let me explain for those might not know. You know that canopy that you swing in the backyard with? Well, this canopy was over, very high. It's like they only had wood across with these strong wires, and I had to hold on them. So I was walking looking like a Buddha. Y'all got to look at my shorts because I got a picture of me trying to get over those canopies. But I had a tour guide that was there, and the guy helped me out a whole lot. I wouldn't have made it without him. I did seven canopies, y'all. It's like walking a block in thin air. Yeah, I did that. You talking about some confidence and some pride? I found pride in Ghana. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Now, later we climbed the mountains, okay? I was terrified, my heart raced, but I did it. I faced my fears. That climb reminded me of my ancestors, their survival, their strength. They endured Jim Crow. They endured the Willie Lynch system. Our ancestors, endured horrors so we could live. And I want you to think about that. Today, if you're facing any fears in your life, you got to heal from that. Because it's in your DNA. If you Black, it's in your DNA to survive. There's no such thing as giving up. Our ancestors didn't give up on us, so we can't give up on ourselves. Face your fears. Well, now, I had to go there and cook because you guys know I love to eat. We also learned to cook traditional dishes like red, plantains. We had some yams out there, some collard greens. We visit this ancestral river park. When I tell you, back up a little bit, let me tell you about the food. Her name was Mama Essie. They called her Mama Essie. She walked us again through the township, brought us to her home, and taught us how to cook the Ghana food, let's just say that. And the food was so tasty. Everything that they used, you guys, was from the earth. Fresh everything. Now watch this. She had a stove, it was like a pit with charcoal, and her daughter was fanning it so it can stay lit. And she cooked 4 dishes. She cooked red, which are black eyed peas on that one, I'm gonna call it a pit. Then she cooked the other red, which it was this thing where we used sunflower seeds and tomatoes and garlic, all the herbs from the earth, collard greens, it's a lot of good stuff. She put that in there. Then she made yams. And so my question to her was, why come she didn't have more than one pit? She said, because here, what we do is we eat 1 dish per serving. So for breakfast, all they have is yams. And then for lunch, you'll have the other red. And for dinner, you have the other red. Here in America, we want everything we want the collard greens, the black eyed peas. So they don't eat like that down there, not at her house. And what's so great about everything is everybody eats, even the dog. Talk about community, talk about love, talk about togetherness, talk about her children doing whatever she needs, talk about the cleanliness. See, they don't take anything for granted, not even the food that they eat in Ghana. We are so spoiled here in America. That's a whole nother story for later on in this podcast. We also visit the ancestral river park, the place where the last bath. Now this one here was another sad and emotional thing. We went to the river where they killed our people. Let me explain. So once they found out they were sold, if our people were sold, they took them, fed them, washed them. If they was too weak, they killed them and tossed them in the river that they washed the ones that were able to be sold. The whites will come up with their boats, look at our people and see if they're clean enough, take them into slavery wherever they were to take them. So it was actually emotional because what we did is we stood under the healing waters. And we didn't stand under it, just felt like it. It was an illusion. We was just there. And we washed our hands in the waters and put them on our arms. And we prayed there. And we sang for our ancestors who lost their lives, who were shot or even sold to someone, to the slave owners. That was really, really emotional, the last bath. We rang the World Peace Bell. We went to that one. We toured the palace of all kind of museums, and they told us about all kind of all kind of history that went on with our people. I also learned how to weave kente cloth. Yes, we went to a place where, so all the clothes that you see this right here, there are symbols on all of this. The web represents W.E.B. Du Bois and what he stood for with our people. So everything in Ghana is symbolic, from our names, from the kente cloth, even the food that we eat is symbolic over there because it symbolizes fullness and good eating. But anyway, the symbols we learned. I stood under the healing waters of the spa and had a waterfall massage. Mate Spa. When I tell you, two fine men greeted me up there. Oh my God. You guys gonna have to see the video. Let's just say the serene and the serenity of that spa was speechless. I had never in my life saw a waterfall so beautiful. Because after hearing all about that, the history of our people and experiencing the emotion and driving on that bus from township to township, seeing marketplaces and shopping and crying. We even saw an accident on the road where 10 people lost their lives. And as we drove past, we saw the heads, the blood from the heads. I had never seen that before in my life. But we saw that. And so after all that, it was time for me to relax. I had to rejuvenate myself. And so I and my friend and I went to a spa called the Monte Spa in Ghana under the waterfall. They had their beds out and these men massaged us from top of our head to the bottom of our feet. But again, there was a hike. We had to walk up there and it was so serene. They were so professional with us. They handled us with care. See, over there, when you from the US and you go there, they cater to you like your queens and kings if you go. And not only did they give us a massage, we went back to the spa and they gave us a body, shoulder massage, and then they massaged our feet and fed us fruits and vegetables, well not vegetables, but fruit, and had us do this aromatherapy and massaged our hands. When I tell you I did not want to go, I wanted to stay there forever. I said, I got to go back. Anyway, and the guys was fine. Did I say the man was fine? Oh, I did, didn't I? Anyhow, everywhere I went, I saw survival. I remember going to Booker T. W.E.B. Du Bois' house. This was so rewarding for me. And as an educator, I've taught it to my students so many times. And to be standing in his house, listening to his history and visiting his gravesite right there out on the outskirts of his house was breathtaking. I even saw his books. And one of the person that was telling us about his story read it. So emotional. So talk about full circle, right? I was there. You guys got to go before you die in this world. Go visit Ghana and see these wonderful places. It would change your life. It's changed my life. We attended a fashion show and of course shopped, right? I got one of these. This is one of the pieces I got from there, right? Yeah. A lot happened in Ghana. Everywhere I went, I saw survival. I saw strength, creativity, history for our people. Now let's talk about the truth. But here's the truth I cannot shake. In Ghana, I saw community, I saw respect, I saw connection. In America, we are so disconnected. We're spoiled as hell, entitled. We are addicted to conflict and drama. And I can't help but to feel like our ancestors died in vain. When I see how we treat each other, that's not what they suffered for. That's not what they died for. That is not freedom. That is not freedom. The way we treat each other. Jealousy, greed. The way we hold on to hurt and pain and want to conflict it to others. That's not healing. And then here on this podcast, we say healing is freedom. Are we free? I got some questions. Now that you've heard all of this, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with yourself? First of all, let's start with self before we go anywhere. What are we going to do with ourselves right now? We have to understand that we're responsible for us. We're responsible for making sure that our ancestors did not die in vain. Whether you like it or not, we are responsible. When will we start loving the strength within us? Do you know we have strength that surpasses all understanding because of our lineage, because of our DNA, because of the blood veins that transcend all the way from Ghana, from Africa, from Nigeria, from Kenya, from the motherland. We all, white, black, Mexicans, we all are from that. What are we doing to embrace the strength inside of us? Are you living your best life right now? Are you helping them live, helping our ancestors live? Are you teaching your children about our history? Or are you living in his story? How do we get back to the basics of what's being black, how it is to be black, and what does it stand for? When do we heal, people? When do we heal? When do we say to ourselves that, hey, none of our ancestors died in vain, because today I'm living for my freedom. I'm taking my strength back. I'm teaching the youth about our ancestors. I'm going back to the basics where we sit at a table and eat together, where we pray together, where we teach our children how to respect our elders together. The way they respect their elders in Ghana is unbelievable. I don't see it up here. What are we doing? Are you right now living your best version as an African American? Ghana taught me that healing is not optional. is necessary. Healing is not just for me, it's for my son, it's for my granddaughter, it's for every generation after me. So I leave you with this final affirmation. Actually, I'm going to leave you with this poem. It's called Breaking Away the Chains We Carry. You guys, when I was down there, it touched me in a way that only God knows. And I wrote this poem because this is how I felt when I was down there. And this is how I feel now. My call of action, you will see it. Just follow my podcast, Healing is Freedom Podcast. Subscribe and follow because I'm doing the work. I know my ancestors is proud of me. Here's the poem, Breaking Away the Chains We Carry. I heard the voices of my ancestors whisper, "Welcome home, Queen." But their tone was heavy, troubled by the sight of this world, still drenched in hurt, still chained in pain. They cried, "Why are you not teaching your children our struggle, our scars, our sacred names? Why did you let his story become your history? Why did you forget our fight, our blood, our legacy?" Disappointment echoed in their voices. Yet so did hope. They reminded me, we must regain our lineage. We must reclaim our royalty. We must heal from within, stand firm in our true identity. We must rise as the great kings and queens our ancestors died for. We must go back to the promised land, learn our history before it is erased completely. And I still hear them saying, break away the mental chain. Live as a proud African. You cannot be who you are until you know where you come from. Love each other. Build powerful communities. Remember, Black lives do matter. So walk like it, talk like it, act like it does. Teach your children our Black history, about Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, about Nat Turner, about Marcus Garvey, about Madam C.J. Walker, about Harriet Tubman, the dreamers, the builders who walked before them. Tell them that they were kings and queens first, tricked into slavery. Tell them about how we were born entrepreneurs, wise, strong, resilient, the first people who ruled the world. Let us trace our roots back to Africa. Let us remember who we are. Let us break away the chains we carry and heal. Freedom should be free. Yes, I will leave you with this quote. I will not live as a slave to fear, pain, or diversion. I would choose freedom. I would choose healing. I will choose love for you and me. I love you, my Black sister. I love you, my Black brother. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Healing is freedom. May we honor our ancestors, break chains, break chains, break change, break generational curses we carry, and step boldly into freedom that is already ours. Until next time, remember, Queen loves you.